After years of treating patients and their musculoskeletal injuries, there seems to be three forces that play a major role on human tissue. There's tension, compression, and shear forces. However, compression seems to be the common denominator in the vast majority of injuries that I've seen and I've treated. What's overlooked by many of those who run daily or perhaps weekly are the compressive forces that affect the entire spine, particularly the lumbar spine and the knees. The repetitive pounding of our feet on the ground exerts a force that goes up our lower extremities or up the legs, absorbed by the ankles, the knees, the hips, and the entire spine, and mainly the lumbar spine. You see, the thin meniscus of the knee and the intervertebral disc that's found throughout our spine functions to absorb these compressive forces, but there's only so much of these that can occur before injury happens. The bicycle appears to be one of the most commonly used exercise modalities, yet repeatedly, bicycling becomes not optimal for the lumbar spine or the cervical spine. In other words, this may cause injury or exacerbate previous injuries to the low back or the neck. Rowing has four major movements: patch, drive, finish, and recovery movement. Correct application of the legs and the trunk and the arms, and finally the arms and the shoulders have considerable implications on safety and efficacy of the rowing movement. The vast majority of people who engage in this movement have a high propensity for incorrect form. When you break down the movements of rowing, you can see that when the row is pulling you forward or when you're in flexion, your knees are almost in hyperflexion, your lumbar spine or your low back is in hyperflexion, and your shoulders are being pulled anteriorly or away from you forward. People who have arthritis, stenosis of the spine, a rotator cuff issue, are at a higher risk of injury or exacerbation of injury when you're putting yourself in that position. Year after year, neck, low back, and knee pain are amongst the most common complaints of people using various home exercise modalities. Only a few brands have taken the considerations to minimize these factors that lead to injury. Very few companies actually do the correct medical and biomechanical research prior to putting out a modality for public use. That not only optimizes strength and increases range of motion and helps with recovery or rehabilitation, but more importantly, minimizes the chances of injury to human tissue. Climber, however, has taken these considerations and actually incorporated it into the machine. You see, climbing minimizes compression to the spine. It allows for fluid, safe lumbar spine and pelvic motion. It minimizes compression to the hips, knees, low backs, and cervical spine and the ankles. The climber machine has taken these considerations and actually implemented them into the machine. And while doing this, it strengthens our muscles, our tissues, it increases joint range of motion, including the lumbar spine, the SI, and hips, and it helps strengthen the intrinsic stabilizing muscles of the spine that are vital to spinal stability. Climber has taken the time to do the necessary research and furthermore implemented those findings into the climber machine to provide an effective, safe solution to our home and gym needs.